Surrounded by rivers of lava, the city of Sanction is one of the most important landmarks on the continent of Ansalon. Greetings and welcome back to my channel, guys. How are you doing today? In this video, we are going to talk about the city of Sanction and the role it played throughout the history of Ansalon. The city of Sanction started out her life as a small trading post in the eastern end of the Solomonic trade route. Its main business was the export of granite and tar from the Kalkis mountain which surrounded the city. As the fiery mountain was hurled down from the heavens on the city of Istar, creating a cataclysmic event that changed the face of Krynn. This event reignited the three volcanoes surrounding the city of Sanction, known as the Lords of Doom, pouring a river of lava through the city itself and destroying much of the city. When finally the flooding, the lava, and the earthquakes have subsided, the landlocked city of Sanction found herself a port city with a river of lava flowing through the middle of it. The calamity that hit the city drove most of the populace out of it, turning the city into a safe haven for pirates and other thieves. Throughout the years, the populace of Sanction tried to find new faith, building huge monuments and temples to false gods who gave them no miracles, and after a while they abandoned them. I bring this up because you have to remember those temples for the future. In the years before the War of the Lands, Ariakas, the general of the Dragon Army, saw Sanction as a perfect base of operation for his new army and conquered the city, turning Sanction from a lawless town into a town under the iron grip of the dragon armies. There, the Red Dragon Army trained their troops and prepared for battle and the conquest of the continent of Ansalon. When the Dark Queen's agents stole the dragon eggs from the good dragons, forcing them to make the promise not to join the war, to keep their eggs safe, the agents of the Queen of Darkness brought those dragon eggs to the catacombs underneath the temples that were created for the false gods but now were dedicated to Takisis herself. And in those catacombs, a heinous ritual was created for these eggs, corrupting them and creating the first Draconians. From the city of Sanction, Ariakas launched his war against the entirety of Ansalon, conquering swaths of land all around and causing havoc and terror for everyone. In the middle of the war, Lord Gilthanas and the Silver Dragon Silvara, together with a few brave companions, managed to penetrate the city. They went underground into the catacombs and they found out what the dragon armies have done to the good dragon eggs. To their horror, they learned that the Draconians came from the corruption of the good dragon eggs, and this discovery broke the oath that bound the good dragons from entering the war. And as the good dragons found out, they joined the war in earnest, managing to take back their eggs and drive the Dark Queen's forces back. And when Takisis tried to ascend into the world in the temple of Naraka that used to be the King Priest temple, which she dragged down to the abyss, Lord Ariakas was killed in the conflict, together with many of the dragon army's generals and forces. The city of Sanction was left leaderless for a while, until the Blue Lady Kitiara Othmatar, the Dragon High Lord of the Blue Wing, took over the city as her own base of operation, building up her forces that included one flying fortress, many dragons and draconians, and among her strongest allies was Lord Soth, the Death Knight. And when she felt herself strong enough, she launched a full-out attack against the city of Palanthas, destroying much of the city and dying in the process. After her death, the city yet again was left leaderless. It went from one High Lord to another, still under the domain of the Dragon Army's remnants, and still not a pleasant place to find yourself at. During the Chaos War, the city mostly escaped destruction from the forces of Chaos. And after the Chaos War, a stranger arrived in the city calling himself Hogan Bight, with magic unknown to the world, as at this point all of the gods have vanished With them, they took the magic from the world, and the Shadow Sorcerer has yet to reveal herself and teach Palin Majere sorcery. So the fact that Lord Bight was able to cast magic is incredible. As he arrived at the city, Lord Bight pushed aside the rivers of lava, changing their flow and making it once again hospitable to live in the city itself, and creating 2 rivers of lava that surround the city and its farmlands, giving it protection from ogres and dark knights alike. Lord Bight went ahead and started rebuilding the city, turning it into a safe haven for those who need, expelling the forces of evil and corruption from the city, and creating a mercenary force that will help him protect the city with the young bronze dragon Crucible at his side. Just before the War of the Souls, Lord Hogan and Crucible mysteriously disappear from the city, and in that time, the Knights of Solamnia come to its aid and try to stop the forces of the Dark Knights from conquering it. Although the knights in the city stood little chance against Mina, the prophet of the One God, and her army of the souls of the dead, together with the Knights of Takisis, that were now branded the Dark Knights of Naraka, managed to conquer the city in the name of the One God. They then transported the skull totems from Brelinix, Malistrix, and Calandris into the city to give the One God as much power as possible for her to ascend into the world, taking her rightful place as the true and only god of Krynn. As all of this is happening, the Kender, Tesselhoff Barefoot, and Rislin Majere have been jumping back in time, trying to stitch back the history of the world of Krynn, giving the gods a roadway back to the world that they lost. And as the One God reveals herself as Takisis, the goddess of darkness, manifesting herself completely in the world of Krynn, Paladin appears, destroying the skull totems and rendering her much weaker than she was. After doing that, Paladin sacrifices his own immortality to do the same to Takisis, as the balance in Krynn has to remain, and if he loses his immortality, so does she. As that happened, Silvanoshi, the son of Alhana and Porteus, stabs Takisis in the heart with a broken dragonlance, killing her instantly. Silvanoshi did this out of love for Mina, trying to save her from the Dark Queen's influence. But Mina, enraged and grieving, killed Silvanoshi for his act, taking the body of Takisis away from the city and disappearing for many years. After the fall of the One God and the departure of Mina, Lord Hogan returns to the city once again, expelling the forces of darkness from the city and starting to rebuild again. But he did not come alone. He came back with his wife, Linsha Majere, the granddaughter of Karamonantika and the daughter of Palin and Usha, who is herself a Solamnic Knight of the Rose. And they returned with 7 brass dragon wyrmlings that were under their charge. And now once again the city of Sanction is a bastion for light, a place where refugees could come and find solace. And the forces of darkness are trying to conquer the city yet again, but failing due to the vigilant stand of Lord Hogan, Crucible, and their armies. And here's a small tidbit of information if you do not know. Lord Hogan Bight and Crucible are one and the same, and they are one of the last remaining Dragon High Lords in Krynn. So I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the City of Sanction throughout the ages. The next one we are probably going to talk about Crucible because I really like that dragon. Thank you for watching and have a great day.